What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is January 6th, 2025. Still not used to saying 2025 yet, but we'll get there, I suppose. But anyways, I hope everybody had a safe and happy new year. And, Vikings lost last night, son of a gun. So I had to cut off the sides of the beard. I was going to cut this guy off, but I need something to cut if they lose in the playoffs here. So if they lose in the playoffs, it's all going off. I thought about taking an eyebrow or something with it, but I think it's just the beard, and then everybody can see my chins and whatever. But anyways, he's going to cut the rest of the beard off if they lose in the playoffs. I hope not. Hopefully this loss is what they need to pull it together, for this postseason. So hopefully we can see some good things from the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings. And but anyways, today gonna ramble a little bit about let's see here. There's a lot of things that go on in the world, right? A lot of good things, bad things, all kinds of things, right? And one of the things I guess people don't really talk a lot about would be, besides the things I ramble about, I suppose, but, trying to stay away from all that negative aspects, right? And a lot of it has to do with the drama, whether we create it, whether others bring it with them into the relationships that you form or bonds that you form, right? And this is no way, shape, or form ever to tell anybody what to do, how to think, or anything like that, because I'm not somebody that's ever going to tell somebody how to think or anything like that, because, you're going to be who you are, and you're going to do what you decide's best for you and yourself and whoever's involved in your life, right? And with that being said, some things that I would personally do to not invite those things, right? Invite those types of characters into one's life, is like, I guess we'll start off with one. Is staying away from people that don't go through with some of the things that they say, right? They'll say, all right, I'll use an example. They're always like, hey man, let's do this. They'll say, you'll make a plan, you'll make a date, not like a lover's date or anything like that, but you decide on a date or a thing to do, right? For example, podcasts. I've talked to a few people about podcasts. They're down to do it, and when it comes to the time to do it, then they're like, all of a sudden, they're always tired, they're always sleepy, they're always, there's always an excuse for it. And, it's tough because it's, family members sometimes, or friends that I hold in a certain regard, right? Like somebody that, in my point of view, would be dependable, I guess you could say. And every time you come up to a decision or a date or something, something comes up. Albeit there's going to be situations where, it can't be helped. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets hurt, stuff like that. But when it's something as like just being tired or whatever, then it's them not following through on theirs, right? And their end, and you're ready to go, you're ready to rock and roll. You might be sick, you might, you got stuff going on too, and they always seem to not go through on those things, right? And they might even be big talkers in the regards of I've accomplished this, I've done this, I do such and such, but when it comes down to it, they're not following through on those things. So maybe for me, I don't make plans with those types of people anymore, right? I don't do any of that. I've had instances where somebody's hit me up too for a podcast, and stuff always falls through. I'll hit you up whenever I'm ready or something, and I'm like, whatever. Then I don't press them, right? I don't press the matter. I'll always be there to hold a podcast for somebody, whom I'm not important, but I do like to hear a good story and share some life experiences with people, right? And these guys, they'll never hear back from them, right? Oh, I get it. Like I said, life's busy, but typically when somebody says they're going to do something and they don't follow through on it, it's A, not meant to be, B, it's just that, maybe, I don't know, I guess you could say that it's just not that important to them, right? They may say it to your face, they may say it to others, but it's not true. So it's good, better for you in the long run, I suppose, psychologically or anything like that, to maybe not associate as much and put your hopes into a bucket for individuals that are like that, right? No matter who they are. You're making time for them, you make plans, they say it to your face, and they don't go through with it, right? No, that's not, they're showing that they're not as dependable as maybe they may seem, or maybe you're just not that important to them, and it's rough to say, especially if it's somebody that you love and care for, or various things like that. So, but it's probably a good thing to not hold too much into those things or anything like that, because sometimes that creates some sort of drama where you're like, dude, I always bring it up. You say you're gonna do it, and you never come through. Yeah, it creates an internal drama for you that you simply do not need, right? Just move on, and don't talk about it again, right? I just, like me, I don't shut down or anything like that. It's just, I don't bring it up again. I know it happened, and it just, you might leave those things there for those people to come through on, and if they choose not to, then don't press it. It's not worth it, and it just simply isn't worth it, right? Because then you're putting stuff on yourself, and you just get let down in the end, right? Discouraged, maybe even. So then there's also people that say, I've had friends in the past, really good friends, close friends, and you had a falling out, and they're telling everybody else they want to make it right for you, right? They want to make it right between you guys or whatever, and you never hear from them. You hear from everybody else that they want to do these things, and they never reach out to you, and you're like, oh man, why is he or she telling everybody that, and I'm the last one to know about it, and they still never reach out. These individuals are showing things like, they're lying. They don't care about that relationship. They're saying that to other people to make it sound good, I guess, and maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? Because you're not them. If I'm going to tell people that I'm going to do something in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to do my best to do those things, to follow through on those things, right? And it ain't going to be talk. If I'm going to say, Billy, lifelong friend, I know how to get a hold of him easily. We live in an era where social media is pretty dominant, and nobody's really that hard to find unless if they don't have a social media or something, But, you know, and you're communicating with people that know them. They can easily get your number. They can easily do these things or whatever, you know. So it's not worth it to worry about it too much, right? Just move on. And if they meant it and mean it, they're going to do it. If not, then they're just talking out their bungholes. And, you know, it's just not worth it to stress over something like that. That it might be, you know, especially if it's, you know, how that certain person is, you know, where they're constantly lying or saying whatever. And, you know, this is a continued behavior from your past or prior relationship with that person. And, you know, what do you do? You just pray for them and hope that they come through, you know, because life's too short to worry about that stuff. But also, you know, if they really meant those things that they said, they're going to come through with it. If not, then, you know, move on. Move on. Don't worry about it. And if it meant that much to you and you hear those things, you know, reach out to them, I suppose. But, you know, that choice is ultimately yours to make and things like that. There's another one is other situation that I've come across recently is the person, not a guy, person, they say, you know, they say and treat some people that you care about in your life like crap, right? Starting rumors, creating drama that doesn't need to be created, right? And they just dog that friend and act like everything's good, right? They push themselves out of that social circle, but then they see that those things, you know, it wasn't the right choice, and but they expect everybody to drop whatever it is just because they decide to do it, and they don't really put forth any effort to make amends, to show that they were sorry, that they mean what they're saying, and they're not doing anything about it, right? They're just saying stuff, ideally, I guess. So, you know, it's if you're not putting forth the effort to fix those things, to do whatever, then you don't really mean it. You're just talking, and you know, it may not mean nothing to that person. And of course, if you decide to talk to them or whatever, you know, you're always free to do that. They might have been your best friend at one point. They might have, you know, been there for you. You might have always been there for them, and things like that. There's other situations where I had, you know, the friend that always needs help. You know, you were always there to help them, and they might have never come through on their end to help you. And this is one where I have least amount of tolerance for people, right? Pick them up for work, do whatever. They say they're going to do this thing, and they don't pull through on it. You have your time of need, and you know, they're able to help, but they just simply don't want to, right? Those types of people are in a lot of people's lives, right? And it just goes to show that, you know, you value your relationship with them more than they might value the relationship too. You know, they just want to constantly take, and you know, you're only good to them if you have something to offer them. That you're gonna benefit them in the long run. That you're gonna only help them when they need the help, but they'll never return the favor, right? And if you don't help them even one time, then they're out there telling everybody that how such a bad of a person you are, when in fact you're just fed up with it. You don't feel like, you know, doing that anymore because you're not a stepping stone. You're not a rug to be trampled on, right? That's also your choice to go about it whatever way you want to, right? But for myself, I choose to stay away from it, right? They're always saying how great of friends you are, but just never coming through on their ends and never helping when they given the opportunity to help somebody that has been there for them whenever they needed it, right? There's other individuals where, they confide in you, and you give them emotional support. You give them whatever support that you would like to see, or that, if you were in that situation, you imagine that you're in that situation, and it sucks, and you do your best to help cheer them up, because that's what a good friend does, right? You don't do it because for just for if you feeling like that and you want them to do that back for you. You do it because you're like, hey man, this is my friend. I want to cheer them up. They're having a bad time, right? And you're not doing it for the payback. You're doing it for trying to help them out. But you do, and then you notice that like they're never there when you're in those situations as well, right? And you got your choices to make to move on and things like that. So sometimes it might be the best to move on there, because maybe that friendship, that relationship or whatever that you believed was there might not be there, right? It might not be the same. And I've been fortunate enough to have friends that told me what I needed to hear when I had to hear it, right? And I was lucky enough to keep my ears open and to hear those things as well, and try to do my best to work on myself to get myself there, right? There's another thing, like sometimes it's within yourself too, right? Where you find yourself not following through, not doing things. So, sometimes it's best to step away from those things and do what you can to get yourself on that right track, right? To cut whatever it is out of your life that's that you're using as a crutch, that to not follow through on those things, to not be taking care of yourself, to doing all these things where you might have been doing those things, but now it's taking up all your energy, and a lot of things seem to be falling apart. So it doesn't always fall on other individuals. A lot of times it may fall onto you, right? And sometimes you create those dramas in your own life that might not need to be there, and might not even exist except for inside your own head. And you got to watch out for those things, right? And a lot of times that's what it is. You create this almost a fantasy in your own mind. You see or think towards that thing, and it's easy to be blind to your own actions, and it's really difficult to see the faults in those, because we don't like to see the faults in our own actions a lot. We don't want to admit it. We don't want to acknowledge it. But there comes a time in a person's life where they need to see it, where they need to acknowledge it, and where they need to work at it, right? Your life's spiraling out of control. I have some people that I call brother, whatever, and their life seems to be repeating itself. They do the same thing. They get fired, they quit out their jobs or whatever every couple months, right? Because of somebody else's actions. They say it's because of somebody else's actions, but if it's not a key indicator of what you've seen when you were around them or worked with them or something, and You've seen some of the things that they did, like not showing up for work, always late, always calling out, whatever. They prioritize other things in their lives where they're just not coming through and doing their best to create a stable life for themselves, right? I know how hard it can be to go to work every day, to do things, and because you don't want to, or because you think you're not earning what you're worth, you're not, stuff like that, and you just want to have fun, drink beer, do drugs, or whatever the case may be, and you're always going to be complaining about not having money or something, but every day you smoke a pack to 2 packs of cigarettes, you're getting wasted and things like that all day long, right? And sometimes when you call those individuals out on those, sometimes they're not going to listen, right? Because sometimes it's hard it's a tough pill to swallow to hear that about yourself, and because you don't think that, you don't want to think about that toward yourself, right? You just think you're perfect. I get it, but you choose to. They choose to push you away, or others that do have that talk with them, right? Sometimes it's best to just walk away. Sometimes it's best to have them reflect on those things. You may never hear from them again. You may never, you may even see them spiral even worse out of control. And it's terrible, right? It's a terrible thing to see and things like that. But, they chose not to listen. They chose not to value any of the words that you say to them. And you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to be an enabler or anything like that. So you choose not to be around that. That's perfectly fine, right? That's your choice. And you choose not to have that in your life because you want to make what's best for you in your life, right? And if you surround yourself with others that don't want to move up with you, and they don't want to become better or anything like that, sometimes that wears on you as well, right? So these are just a few things that, I've faced in my life, that I've seen others face in their lives, that, has been happening since the dawn of time, right? And some of them may even seem harsh depending on where you're at in your life, or some of these things you can resonate with, right? Maybe you have great friends you've never faced some of these things. Chances are you have. There's slimmer chances that you haven't. But just know that if you're gonna make these choices, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. And at first, and when you're not used to any of these situations in your life, it could even be devastating in a way, right? Because sometimes it's a family member that you love and care for very much, and stuff like that. But you can't do it for them, right? You can just pray and hope that they come through on the other side, because we're all struggling to go forward, to put our best foot forward, and to do the things that we talk about and say and things like that, right? And it's not easy for anybody. Sometimes it's easy to sit there and wallow and talk about how easy somebody has it when we don't see the hard work that they're putting forward, that we don't see the way that they learn how to cope with things. It's always, the grass is always going to be greener on the other side. It'll look gray and muggy on your side, but when you come through and you start seeing some of the things that you didn't see before, green grass will look the same when you enter there into that side. And like I said, it's always easy to judge a different book by its cover when you don't see the hard work and the things that they had to go through, the trials and tribulations that they went through in their life. And it's easy to say this, that, or another thing because of their cousin, because of their parents, because of they went to school or something. I've seen a lot of times where people didn't go to college and they're like, oh, it's because they went to college and they partied and that's all their friends or whatever. It's easy to say that, but the fact of the matter is, they built those relationships, they built those friendships, and they've earned those trust of those individuals. And we've never seen it because we were never a part of it, right? And we don't know the true value of ourselves, so it's easy to always judge others when we don't know what happened or what they did to get there. It's always going to be easier. Till you've gone through those things yourself, sometimes it's best to not judge those at all, or even remotely. Like, I think everybody goes through it, though, is thinking about that type of stuff. And sometimes, maybe they were set up because their parents helped them or their family, a family member helped them. But at the end of the day, it's still up to them to maintain that, to create some more opportunities to continue to grow and learn. And just because they figured it out at a younger age doesn't mean that somebody's just doing it for them, right? It'd be different if they were like a rich kid and their parents literally pay for everything and they don't work or something, and they continue not to work and they do literally nothing. But in most cases, that's not it, right? I haven't seen that. I've met some people that their parents are well off, but they're still in public schools and stuff like that. But they were, they weren't spoiled, I guess you could say. It's different when you're spoiled and stuff like that. So, because you expect those things to happen without any actual work, and you piggyback off of the hard work that those other individuals did for you or for your family or whatever, right? But in most cases, I have yet to see that. I remember when I was in my depressive state, the dark part of my life, I was still surrounded by great people, and just because I was feeling bad for myself, they were there to say things for me, to me, and help me pull my head out of my butthole. And there came times where I came close to not having a life anymore, right? Because of the poor decisions that I decided to make, because of some of the actions or some of the people that I decided to invite into my life to have around. And I even became some of those individuals that I talk about. I've done a lot of these things and have been the example of a person maybe not to associate with, right? And it's, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It doesn't matter who you were or what you did before, as long as you're deciding to correct it and be better, right? And to follow through on some of these things. If you don't learn, you're not growing. If you're not growing, then you'll never, ever pull yourself out of that place, right? Don't make those excuses. The biggest thing out of all this is going to be that, it doesn't matter who you surround yourself with. If you don't get yourself right, then it'll be for naught, right? If you don't continue to work, and grow, and learn and all that stuff, then it'll mean nothing, right? Because it's going to always come down to you and what you decide to do and how you decide to act, right? You're going to set a good example and help those that are coming behind you, or are you just going to be there worried about yourself and talk about how everybody has it good and you just have it bad, and you just wallow in your own crap and decide not to do anything about it, which is fine because that's your choice. Even your actions of doing nothing has consequences, right? Your actions of doing something negative, it's always going to be negative, right? Your actions of doing something better is going to better your life, right? Because you're gonna put forth that effort to get better at it. So, I guess like I said, I just want to reiterate that you could choose to be better, but I'm not telling anybody what to do, obviously, because I still don't know what to do. As I get older, don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? Nobody does. But you just got to have faith, and you just got to work your butt off and do the best you can with those around you. And, you do your best to uplift them and, set good examples for them, I guess. So sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. So, but anyways, I hope everybody has a great one. If you like this content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. I'll continue to upload this Monday Rambles. I was thinking about doing more, but I don't know. I don't know yet. I just don't. It's not that it's not worth it, because I enjoy rambling and walking and stuff like that, and reflecting, which is a lot of these things for myself, especially. So to me, it's almost like a therapy, right? Because sometimes we all gotta offload and whatever. So, but I give credit to all my good friends out there, especially the ones that put up with my shit, right? Love you guys, and until the next time, I hope to see you guys again. Peace.